Good morning and welcome to the Brick by Brick podcast, where we talk things real estate, look at principles that could help you build the life you are wanting brick by brick. Today I'm going to talk a little about how I protect my private money lenders. That's a big question because you want to make sure that the funds you're lending are secured, and it is vital that the person you're lending to has ways they protect you and keep you safe, because I've heard horror stories of people lending funds and them not returning because an accident happens and they weren't protected in the proper way. And so let's dive right into it. The first way I protect my private money lenders is by ensuring I have a promissory note. Promissory note is an adult version of the IOU, right? It's just on paper and it's recorded in the right places, and it lays out the terms of the loan. It lays out how much money you're lending, lays out the interest rate, the repayment schedule. Are you getting this every month on the first, or are you getting the interest-only payments that I'll be giving you at the end of the note when you receive all of your funds back? And it also talks about the length of the loan. Are you loaning it for several years? What are those years? Several months? How many months? And so it's enforceable. It's an agreement. It's putting transparency on the table. Everyone sees this. It's recorded at county. Everyone knows what's happening here. Okay. The other thing is, I always give a deed of trust. Just like when you would go to a bank and they would finance you and lend money to you, and you'd get a mortgage and it's collateralized against the property that you're purchasing, I give that also a deed of trust. And it allows everyone to see, again, that transparency. Everyone has eyes on this. You can look it up yourself. Title ensures that this is happening. And it gives you that authority to have a legal claim on the property. So let's say something happens and I get abducted by an alien and your payments aren't being made to you. Well, that deed of trust allows you to foreclose on the property and recoup all of your funds back and start judicial processes, litigation, whatever is needed to get your funds back. And so that deed of trust secures you against the property. You're literally placing a lien on the property, and I can't sell the property. I can't do anything until that lien is paid out. Right? And so that's the second way. Another way is making sure you're additionally insured. And the reason for that is, if something happens to the property, if there are tornadoes in Oklahoma, a tornado swings by and just takes the whole property out, well, I want to make sure insurance is covering everyone who's involved. I want to make sure insurance is covering me, insurance is covering you, insurance is covering even the tenant, and everyone receives back what they're supposed to receive back, because that's part of one of the ways I protect my private money lenders. The other way I protect my private money lenders, the fourth way, is by ensuring I have a lender policy. Now, this is usually from title. It's title insurance. And this is a way I protect myself, because I'm the one investing and making sure that all things are right. And you're coming in as a lender, I want to make sure you're protected also. Because sometimes title misses something, or They've done their research. They've dug back into the records to make sure the person who has signed the purchase agreement and is selling their home is the one who is indeed the rightful owner. Sometimes accidents happen. In fact, heard this one story where a buyer was helping a family in pre-foreclosure. And so they got everything, the title, got the purchase agreement together, sent everything in, sent over funds, EMD, and made sure that everything was there for the title company. Title company closes on the property, the seller signs paperwork, the buyer signs paperwork, and they're all thinking, okay, we're good to go. And so this buyer starts renovations on the property and has their contractor in doing their thing to make sure that this home becomes elevated to a standard of living for other renters, and it'd be a great place. And so they're going now to county records to pull something up. I forget exactly what it was, but they're going through county record. They've looked up their property and they noticed that it wasn't their name on the property. It was another entity. And so they did a little bit more research and come to find out the title company, one of the assistants there, instead of wiring the funds over to the bank so that they can stop the foreclosure, pay the arrears, pay the back payments that the seller was behind on, instead of wiring the funds over, they mailed a check. And so this foreclosure was a couple weeks away. Actually, I think it was the next week. And so they mailed, from closing, they mailed this check over, and the check never makes it, the check didn't make it in time before the actual foreclosure sale. And so this seller and this buyer, they've signed paperwork, they think everything's done, they've washed their hands, they're going on to the next chapter. Several weeks later, they look into it after some renovations have started, after funds have been wired to title to ensure this very thing does not happen. They realize somebody else purchased it. And so they had conversations with the title company, even used their lender, and they used their title insurance policy, and they were able to recoup their funds, renovation funds, and their private money lender was able to recoup their funds. And the reason I share that is because I want to make sure at every step of the process, you are protected, you are secured, you are receiving and getting your funds, and you're returned. I was just starting in this real estate world, and I was in conversations with a seller about an hour and 30 minutes away from me in Lawton. Military town, real transient, and would be a great place to have rental properties because families get deployed there, there's a training base there, and it's also a college town, and so there's a lot of value there. And a lot of ways you could help the community down there by raising the standard of a house and then renting it out to a family. So I'm having conversations with the person, decided that I was going to make it a rental. It was real nice setup. There was a 3-bedroom, 2-bath on the front end of the property. And in the back, there was a 1-bedroom, 1-bath. And so I'm thinking to myself, college person in the back, family in the front. Perfect lineup. And so I went on to find a lender that would help me take this deal down. One who would finance the renovation and the purchase. So I got in talks with this one person, and they charged me all these different things, and I'm new to this. I don't know what I'm doing. And I did a little bit of research and realized, okay, these are the ways I could protect myself. And so we're continuing on. We got things to title. Title's looking over documents. I'm looking over documents. The seller's looking over documents. And this person never sent over the funds. They never wired the money over the title. And this is significant because we're there at closing. We're there on closing day thinking, where is the money? Nothing comes in. And so I found out the week after the person was a scam. But what made this even more difficult was that I had my mentor lend me money so that I can pay the closing costs, because everyone has to pay closing costs. It has to be paid in some way. And so they lent over about $1,000 something, $1,300 I think it was. And I wired it over, started that process, and come to find out it was all a scam. Person was not who he said he was, and we were not closing. I mean, I was fooled, title was fooled. We were all just like, wow, what is happening? The title agent actually told me this is her first time in 30 plus years working closings that no funds were at closing. And so this was a shock to me. It's my second deal. And so I finally said to myself, okay, I'm losing money on this and not my mentor. My lender is not losing money on this. And so what I did was I had another deal that was closing, made a few bucks from that, and then paid him back plus the interest that I was going to add for him lending those funds. And so just my second deal, I made sure, okay, I'm the one that's going to bite the cookie here. I'm the one that's going to take the loss, not my lender. Because I believe if you're lending on this, you understand the risk. It's definitely involved. We mitigate it as much as we can, and that's why I have those 4 things: promissory note, deed of trust, additional insured, and then a lender's policy. But I go the extra step because I understand that you're wanting to make sure you get a return that makes sense for you. And I bite the dust. I take the bullet. And so you want to make sure that above all of these, the person that you're lending to is someone you can trust, someone you can show up and say, hey, let me see the house. Right? Like, where's the actual house that I'm lending on? Where's the actual deal? What are the numbers? What does it look like? And if you can build that trust in that relationship, oh, that goes so far, because now you have that security. And that security is layered with several other things. But you have that person you're lending to who has a great character and is ensuring that you are taken care of. And so those are the 4 things I share, 4 things I give to my private money lenders to make sure that they can sleep at night secured and not anxious that, I just mailed over $1,000 something. It's like, no. All the funds are wired over the title company. You're taken care of. I'm taken care of. Everyone has eyes on these documents. Everyone knows what's happening. And so join me and let's build a future brick by brick. Thank you. Have a good day.